After Adam and Eve were sent out of the Garden of Eden, they began a new life, outside of paradise, in a world that was now touched by pain, hard work, and struggle. But it was also a world where new life continued, and soon, Eve gave birth to their first son. His name was Cain. Later, she gave birth to another son, Abel. The two boys grew up side by side, but their paths were different. Cain became a farmer. He worked the soil, growing crops and harvesting grain. He lived by the rhythm of the earth, tending to the land that had become harder to cultivate since the fall. Abel became a shepherd. He raised flocks, cared for sheep, and lived among the pastures, watching over his animals with patience and care. Both boys knew of God. Adam and Eve had told them of the garden, of the time when everything was perfect, and of the moment it all changed. They had grown up hearing about the closeness their parents once had with their Creator, and they learned that worship and offerings were part of honoring Him. One day, both Cain and Abel brought offerings to God. Cain brought some of the fruits of the ground, produced from his fields. Abel brought the best portions from the firstborn of his flock, a costly and intentional gift. God looked with favor on Abel's offering. He saw not just the gift, but the heart behind it, generous, reverent, sincere. But Cain's offering did not find the same favor. His gift had come, perhaps, out of obligation rather than worship. Maybe it was convenient, maybe careless, maybe simply half-hearted. Whatever the reason, God saw the difference. Cain was furious. His face darkened. His heart grew heavy and bitter. He didn't speak to God, he sulked and stewed in silence. But God came to him, not in wrath, but with a warning and a choice. God said something like, "Why are you angry? If you do what is right, you'll be accepted. But if you don't, be careful, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to control you, but you must master it." Cain heard the warning, but he didn't take it to heart. Instead, he let his anger fester. One day, he invited Abel out to the field. It seemed innocent, just a walk, two brothers out on the land. But in a sudden and brutal moment, Cain attacked Abel and killed him. The first murder in human history wasn't born out of survival, but out of envy. A heart poisoned by pride and unchecked jealousy had struck down an innocent man. Later, God came to Cain and asked him, "Where's your brother?" Cain replied with defiance, "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" But God knew. Abel's blood cried out from the ground. Justice demanded an answer. God didn't kill Cain, but he didn't leave the crime unanswered either. Cain was cursed. The ground he once worked would now resist him even more. He would become a restless wanderer, always moving, never at peace. Cain cried out, not in repentance, but in fear of punishment. He was afraid someone would find him and kill him. And even then, God showed mercy. He marked Cain in some way, so that no one would harm him. The mark wasn't approval. It was protection. A sign that even in judgment, God wasn't abandoning him. So Cain left, carrying with him the weight of his actions, the burden of his anger, and the loss of his brother, a brother whose only fault was bringing a better gift. The story of Cain and Abel is a warning. Not just about murder, but about the danger of resentment, the importance of the heart behind our actions, and how quickly jealousy can turn into violence when left unchecked. But it's also a story of God's justice, and even more, God's mercy, shown even to those who fail.